Chapter 1829. It clutched its chest as a mouthful of blood spurted out from its mouth. You, what did you do to me? The devouring eye couldn't exert any strength at all. Even maintaining its current form was a little strenuous. Until now, the devouring eye had finally understood. Right from the start, Yiqing Luo knew that it wasn't the real Dmo Xian. So, she rejected its touch. And didn't call it Xian. Might as well, the devouring eye didn't waste any more energy to maintain Dmo Xian's appearance. Gradually, a black fog appeared in front of the two of them. Human-shaped black fog. It had human eyes, nose, mouth. Whatever humans had, this black fog also had. It was as if he was a man created by the black fog. This was the devouring eye. It looked really strange and ugly. Dmo Xian's brows rose slightly as he looked down at the devouring eye, noble and elegant, as though he was looking at everything in the world, making the devouring eye feel a sense of humiliation. Dmo Xian's thin lips curled slightly as he smiled. You dare to touch my woman, your guts aren't small. His tone was very light, but it revealed an oppressive sense of power. The devouring eye felt the energy in its body was disappearing at an extremely fast speed. There was a strong sense of fear in its eyes. Tell me the location of Xiao Yi and Qiao Jin, perhaps I can consider letting you off. Dmo Xian smiled calmly. The devouring eye panted as its eyes were filled with viciousness. Don't even think about it. Don't ever think of finding those two lowly humans. Slap. Only to hear the sound of an air current breaking through the air. Yiqing Luo raised a palm of profound qi and slapped directly towards the devouring eye's face. A heavy slap carried a strong profound qi. One slap caused the devouring eye to spit out a large mouthful of blood. In terms of lowly, an intangible body like you without a face is the real lowly one. Yiqing Luo sneered, if you don't want to say, I can't be bothered to waste time to force you. The devouring eye's face instantly darkened. Although the face was like a mass of black fog, it was a mass of pitch black. You're definitely not the only formation eye in this massive soulless formation. You might not care about your life, but there are plenty of others who do. Yiqing Luo Wei squinted her eyes as she stared at the devouring array core, revealing an obvious ridicule. Once the array core's energy is depleted, it will completely disappear in the godless array, right? The black mist-like body of the devouring formation core twitched violently on the ground. This was obviously tacitly agreeing to Yiqing Luo's question. It cherished its life. It naturally cherished its life. In the entire deity array formation, which array core didn't care about their lives. He had been in the godless formation for tens of thousands of years. The godless island had sent tens of thousands of people to the godless array. It could easily capture the weakness in everyone's heart. Then, it would completely devour the other party. This was the first time it had failed. From Yiqing Luo's memories, the devouring array core had read Dmo Xian's power. Now that he saw Dmo Xian with his own eyes. As the devouring formation eye that attacked the heart, it naturally understood. It couldn't afford to provoke this man. The godless island had actually let such a powerful person in. Were they trying to destroy the godless array formation completely? Lil Luo, it refuses to say, what should we do? Dmo Xian's eyes drooped as he gazed at the young lady in his arms as he asked with a light smile. Chapter 1830. Dmo Xian had a, whatever my wife says, expression as he nodded with a smile, then we shall do as Lil Luo, says. He waved his hand. His purple robe rolled up a terrifying profound energy. The irresistible force made the devouring array eye cry out in shock, I'll speak. I'll speak. I'll tell you where the two humans are at, I don't want to disappear. I don't want to disappear. Yiqing Luo raised her hand and hugged Dmo Xian's arm. Dmo Xian also restrained his aura at the right time. She raised her brows and continued to smile. Whether it disappears or not, depends on how much obsession you have to survive. Yiqing Luo felt that the feeling of a fox borrowing the tiger's might was indeed cool. The devouring array trembled as it stared at Dmo Xian with trepidation and told him where Qiao Jin and Yan Xiaoyi were at. They've been teleported to a battle spell formation. That's the most devastating of all the spell formations. In that place, there is only battle. Battle. Battle on and on. Yiqing Luo's face instantly turned pale. Are you sure what you said is true? It's absolutely true. Generally speaking, those who enter the array will be split into different places according to their own hearts, to undergo the array's devouring and assimilation. But this time, not only the two of you entered the same place. They too are all in the same place, so I remember it very clearly. Looking at the devouring array eyes' solemn look. Yiqing Luo's expression turned uglier by the minute. Her fingers tightened as she held Dmo Xian's arm tightly. Dmo Xian gently caressed her head as he hugged her petite body tightly. Immediately, his gaze turned chilly as he looked at the devouring array the way to go to that place. This. The devouring array didn't expect Dmo Xian to ask so directly as he was shocked. I don't know. Don't know. Then you have no value. Yiqing Luo was burning with anxiety. How would she have the mood to watch the devouring array's little trick? I can bring you there. The devouring array core was so frightened that it hurriedly changed its words. As if afraid that the two of them wouldn't believe it, it solemnly vowed, I am the array core of the soulless array core. I can track the whereabouts of everyone who enters the soulless array core. Yiqing Luo didn't bother with his nonsense as she let go of Dmo Xian's arm and walked in big strides to the side of the devouring array core. She took out a pill from the profound phoenix ring and stuffed it into the devouring array core's mouth. Now, lead the way. After consuming the elixir, the devouring formation core's strength gradually returned to its body. It got up from the ground. He touched his limbs to make sure that they were completely healed. Just as he was about to turn around to face Yiqing Luo, to flatter her alchemy skills with joy, what greeted him was a kick to the face. Bang! The devouring formation core fell to the ground. Cut the crap. Lead the way immediately. Yiqing Luo was burning with anxiety as she urged him to kick. The devouring array core was afraid of these two and didn't dare to play any more tricks. It obediently led the two of them to where the eye of the formation resided. The location of the formation was also where the formation was fixed. Once the formation was destroyed, it would disappear. Bringing them to their residences, and the devouring formation core was already a gamble with the determination to die. On the way, the devouring formation core looked at the worried Yiqing Luo and suddenly thought of something as it hesitantly asked, Are you sure you want to leave this plane? Yiqing Luo's cold eyes swept across. The devouring formation core immediately shrunk its head. This cowardly look, where was the slightest bit of the dignified attitude when it transformed into Dmo Xian? Star. Chapter 1831. She took a few more steps. The devouring array core shrunk its neck as it spoke in a trembling voice, I'm telling the truth, you want to leave this plane. Yiqing Luo's slender brows creased slightly. I don't have the time to talk nonsense with you. But. The devouring array core stuttered. Looking at Yiqing Luo's frosty expression, it didn't dare to say it out. It pouted and muttered softly, You coming to this plane is intentionally arranged by someone. If you leave this plane, wouldn't that mean that Lord wasted 100 years of profound energy to send you over? The devouring array core's voice became softer. But based on Yiqing Luo and Dmo Xian's hearing ability, they could hear it clearly. Their expressions changed slightly, and they looked at each other. Yiqing Luo narrowed her eyes as her voice turned chilly. "You're saying, someone intentionally sent me to the 21st century plane." The devouring array core widened its black fog-like eyes, as though it was extremely astonished. It had already said it very softly. Why were they still able to hear it? Yiqing Luo slapped its forehead. "Don't go into a daze, speak clearly." I'm just one of the thousands and thousands of array cores in the godless array, so I don't know much." Before it could finish its words, it met Yiqing Luo's icy cold gaze and heard the cracking sound of finger joints. The devouring array core instantly cowered as it lowered its head. You were indeed sent to this plane by someone. Intentionally sent to this plane. Who was it? And even wasted 100 years of profound energy. 100 years of profound energy. Even if it was someone with average innate talent, in 100 years' time, he would be able to cultivate to at least 2 grades of power. That person, what motive did he have? She knew it. If it was based on a person's inner heart, the plane that was sent to. No matter what, it should be Nirvana realm, Devil class, or the World Group's old residence. Anyway, it was absolutely not the 21st century. In the 21st century, other than the long-lost feelings, there was nothing worth her nostalgia. But in Nirvana realm, there was her brother. Her kin. Her favorite people. This was the place that could truly conquer her inner heart. So, she came to the 21st century. It was deliberate. Don't ask me why I sent you here, I really don't know. I only know that in order to send you to this plane, other than the opportunity of the soulless formation, I also need to exhaust 100 years of profound energy, but I feel that if they used 100 years of profound energy to send you over, there must be something important that they need you to do. If you were to head to another plane so easily, wouldn't that be a waste of that Lord's 100 years of profound energy? When Yiqing Luo heard that, her expression didn't change at all. She curled her lips in disdain. What I hate most in my life is being used by others. The devouring formation core was taken aback for a moment before coming to a realization. Yiqing Luo totally didn't know who was the person who sent her to the 21st century. Not to mention, she came to this plane to do something important. Yiqing Luo totally didn't know. Moreover, under the circumstances where no one knew, he had schemed against Yiqing Luo. Based on Yiqing Luo's character, how would she possibly care about that lord and waste a few hundred years of profound energy? That had nothing to do with her at all. I'm not interested to know about unimportant people. Yiqing Luo gave it a cold glance. If you continue talking rubbish, I'll cut off your tongue. Chapter 1832. The devouring array. I obediently led the way. Yiqing Luo and Dmo Xian walked behind. She tugged Dmo Xian's arm and lowered her voice. Ah Xian, who in Nirvana realm has lived for at least 500 years and above. If she was sent to this plane by expending 100 years of profound energy, that person's cultivation was at least 500 years and above. Otherwise, it was absolutely impossible to use 1 million profound energy to do such a thing. Perhaps, he's not from Nirvana realm. Dmo Xian's narrow peach blossom eyes squinted as a piercingly cold glint shot out from his eyes. Godless Island also intervened in this matter. Yiqing Luo's expression turned grave. Indeed. She recalled everything that had happened in her mind. Yiqing Luo could totally sense that she had been led by the nose from the start to the end. From entering the treasure-gathering pavilion to auction back the sky essence serene grass. Until Xiao Yi was captured. Shi Shanglan then made use of Xiao Yi and Jin Zi to lure the both of them to discover the secret passage in the treasure-gathering pavilion. From there, they automatically entered the godless array which had been set long ago. Just for the sake of sending her to the 21st century. That person, who was he? Just as she was deep in thoughts, the man beside her suddenly pressed her wrist. Yiqing Luo suddenly regained her senses as she looked up at him. The both of them stopped in their tracks. Dmo Xian was expressionless as his piercingly cold gaze went past Yiqing Luo and swept towards the position behind her. Come out. Two icy cold words, as though it was wrapped in frost. It was as if even the surrounding air had been frozen. The devouring array which was leading the way had a huge change in expression as it turned its head vigilantly and followed Dmo Xian's line of sight. Who is it? Have I been discovered? It frantically hid behind Dmo Xian's back as it stuck its head out and looked left and right. The atmosphere froze for a moment. Dmo Xian's palm moved. His purple robe rolled up a strong airflow. That imposing manner was like a roaring sea wave, whistling as it attacked towards a certain direction. Yiqing Luo was so shocked that she immediately hugged his arm. Ah Xian, in this place, you can't recklessly use your profound energy. If we are discovered by the people in this world, we will be treated as monsters and brought to be researched. The moment the young lady hugged his arm, in an instant, the dense aura completely dissipated. Dmo Xian's brows drooped as he gazed at the person leaning on his arm and smiled faintly. With this array, no one in this world can see us. Yiqing Luo was stunned for a moment and immediately let go of her hand. Oh right, then quickly use your profound chi to blast that tracker to death. The responsibility will be on me. She recalled herself and the Dmo Xian who was transformed from the devouring array, standing at the entrance of the crowded street. Indeed, no one could see her. Wait. Since the people of this world couldn't see them, why were there still people following them? Could it be? Yiqing Luo's heart trembled. No way, there really were people who weren't from this world. At the next instance, Yiqing Luo had her answer. Dmo Xian's profound chi fell into the haystack not far behind him. Then, a black figure dashed out of the haystack. Yiqing Luo saw it clearly. It was a strange man wearing black sportswear and a hoodie that covered his entire body and face. She just looked at him like this. Yiqing Luo could feel a strong aura encircling around him. This person was not simple. Who are you? Dmo Xian narrowed his eyes as he sized him up. His voice was deep and cold. Chapter 1833. Towards his reply. Yiqing Luo didn't feel much. Her attention was all on the strange man, that pair of scarlet red eyes. She stared at the pair of red eyes in astonishment. After staring for a while, she said, "Your eyes, natural." The strange man answered calmly, as if he was already used to explaining the problems with his eyes. Natural red eyes. How could there be someone with such a strange eye color? However, not waiting for Yiqing Luo to continue asking the doubts in her heart, Dmo Xian had already hugged her shoulders tightly, shoving her into his arms, and immediately looked at the strange man coldly. "You're not from Nirvana realm, your aura." He paused, as his brows creased slightly. "Godless Islands people." "No." The strange man shook his head. "My name is Yuming, indeed. I'm considered to be from the same place as you." Purpose. Dmo Xian didn't want to talk nonsense with him. Yuming looked at Yiqing Luo who was nestled in Dmo Xian's arms, peeking out her little head, blinking her charming eyes at him. He smiled, as his red eyes faintly flashed a few red rays. "I want to cooperate with you." Cooperate? Yiqing Luo raised her brows. Just as she opened her mouth, the hand around her waist suddenly tightened. Yiqing Luo patted the back of his hand, as she raised her eyes to look at the awkward, obviously jealous man. She was helpless, as she pinched Dmo Xian's hand again. She stared at Yuming. But it wasn't because she had taken a fancy to Yuming's face. She only felt that Yuming's pair of red eyes was a little strange. Moreover, in this world, in terms of looks, who could match Dmo Xian's looks? Yi Qing Luo stretched out her hand, as she pinched his tight face, but her words were directed at Yu Ming, who says, "How do you want to cooperate with us? Bring me out of this plane." Yu Ming calmly stated his request, "I want to go back, to our era." Yi Qing Luo scoffed lightly, "You haven't even stated your exchange terms, and you've already raised your own request. Are you so confident that I'll be interested in your cooperation?" Yu Ming said indifferently, "I've been in this plane for 10 years. After a pause, his scarlet-red eyes locked onto Yi Qing Luo. "I discovered the hidden Yi family's ancestral tomb." Yi Qing Luo's brows twitched. She knew from Yu Ming's gaze that he'd obviously recognized her. The reclusive Yi family. Before she transmigrated, he was the head of the reclusive Yi clan. The ancestral tomb, this was the reason why she was sent to the Nirvana realm. But, she remembered that she had heard the old men of the reclusive Yi clan talk about it. The tomb of the Yi clan's ancestors hid too many disasters and secrets. Apart from the descendants of the Yi clan, no one else could find the tomb of their ancestor. It was also because of this that she had been deceived by that group of old men to go to her ancestor's tomb, open it, and obtain the azure dew bracelet. She had entered the tomb of her ancestors before. He naturally understood why the group of old men from the Yi clan placed so much importance on the ancestral tomb. Yu Ming was also interested in the tomb of the Yi clan's ancestors. Then, when Yu Ming knew that she was a descendant of the Yi clan, he would not let her go. Talking about the ancestral tomb. That was also asking for her help, because only she had the qualification to enter the ancestral tomb. Asking for her help to enter the ancestral tomb again. Asking her to bring him back to their era. Yi Qing Luo really wanted to laugh at his face. He was indeed a red-eyed person, his face was really big. Chapter 1834. In the tomb of the Yi clan's ancestor, there is an azure water divine weapon, Yu Ming said word by word. Yi Qing Luo's expression changed slightly, vast water god armament. Yes. Netherworld nodded firmly. I know you need the deep water divine artifact. This information in exchange for you taking me back to our time should be worth it. Yi Qing Luo narrowed her eyes as she sized up Yu Ming's expression. Indeed, she needed the azure water divine tool. She had promised old man Tsang. He would gather a complete set of azure water divine armaments as soon as possible. Although she had entered her ancestor's tomb before, she hadn't noticed anything other than the azure dew bracelet. As for whether or not there was an azure water divine artifact, she really wasn't too sure. Other than the Yi family, no one can enter the ancestral tomb. How did you know and how did you ascertain that the Tsang Shui artifact is in the ancestral tomb? Yi Qing Luo raised her doubts. To tell you the truth, I came to this plane for the vast water divine artifact. But right now, I want to leave this plane more than the azure water divine artifact. His eyes were sincere. It didn't sound like he was lying. She was silent for a moment as she glanced at the devouring array which was trying its best to reduce its presence. Her eyes flashed slightly. But, compared to the azure water divine artifact, I care more about my brother's life. Then, she raised her voice and said, Little Formation Core, continue to lead the way. Saying that, she held Dmo Xian's hand and walked towards the direction of the devouring array's eye. The devouring formation core panicked and was at a loss of what to do. Really want to leave, then continue with your nonsense. Yi Qing Luo narrowed her eyes as she looked at it with a smile which didn't look like a smile. The devouring formation core immediately covered its mouth and shook its head vigorously. Go, I'll lead the way. The three of them continued forward. With his back facing the netherworld. Dmo Xian's lips curled upwards as he leaned close to her ear. Lil Luo, has become crafty. Yi Qing Luo rubbed her face against his shoulder as she gave a light laugh. Who is he? What kind of person is he? The motive of the cooperation and such, I don't even understand it, so why should I trust him? She really did need the vast water divine artifact. But now was not the time. Facing a netherworld with ulterior motives, even if she wanted it, she would not take it. Who knew if the netherworld was taking advantage of her identity as a descendant of the Yi clan? Once she took out the vast water divine weapon, wouldn't it be a loss if the netherworld snatched it away instead? Although, with Dmo Xian around, this kind of situation would basically not happen. However, it was better to be safe than sorry. She didn't want to become a chess piece in someone else's hands. Most importantly, Xiao Yi and Jin Zi were still fighting in an extremely dangerous plane. She had no more time to waste on the ancestral tombs. He had only taken a few steps. Yu Ming's figure flashed and appeared in front of the two of them. "Miss Yi, your brother," just as he asked, the devouring formation I had already told him about Qiao Jin and Yan Xiao Yi's matters in a simple manner. In the end, he didn't forget to add, "Yes, yes, yes. You have to persuade this young lady. The battle plains over there are full of fighting prowess. Even if you rush over now, I'm afraid that your brother might already be dead." The word "die" had only just emitted a stream of air. The devouring array core was sent flying by Yi Qing Luo's kick. "Miss Yi, what the array core said, actually makes a lot of sense." Yu Ming nodded thoughtfully. "Give me 10 minutes. If those two brothers of yours are still alive, I have a way to ensure their safety." Yi Qing Luo's eyes flashed as her slender fingers instinctively curled up tightly. She pursed her lips as her tone turned heavy. "Give me a reason to believe you." Star. Chapter 1835. Yu Ming didn't open his mouth but directly used his actions to show his sincerity. He flipped his palm and a transparent screen floated above his palm. Following that, he raised his other hand and condensed his profound qi, covering the screen. A ray of profound qi encircled the screen. Not long after, an extremely illusory image that resembled a vast universe appeared on the screen. The entire screen was covered by that piece of black nothingness. Yi Qing Luo's slender brows creased slightly as she inched closer. "What is this place?" "The plane where your two brothers are at," Yu Ming replied calmly. Yi Qing Luo's expression changed slightly as she quickly rushed to the screen. The image on the screen was clearly imprinted into Yi Qing Luo's eyes. In the pitch-black space of nothingness, there were some faintly discernible lights flickering within. She could faintly see the surrounding thousands of stars, sparkling with a weak light. The first feeling it gave Yi Qing Luo was, it was a space under the vast starry sky. Tranquil and beautiful. But, when Yi Qing Luo's vision was fixed on a certain spot on the screen, her heart was fiercely in pain. What tranquil, what beautiful. This was simply a massacre under the tranquil atmosphere. Fresh blood under the beautiful atmosphere. Yan Xiao Yi and Qiao Jin, the both of them held their weapons in their hands, as they constantly fought against the various monsters which were surging towards them. Those monsters which were killed, no matter how they were killed. They could swiftly heal themselves, piecing together into a new, extremely strange, but even more powerful monster. Battle. Battle. This was the battle plane. Here, there was only this piece of beautiful nothingness space. Here, there were only one after another, continuously reviving and reassembling monsters. They only had one goal. Battle. To battle with the outsiders. To battle with the other monsters in the plane. Then to devour the other party's energy, to consolidate their own energy. In this plane, the battle would never stop. Yan Xiao Yi and Qiao Jin's faces matched. Apparently they had been battling for a long period of time. Yi Qing Luo could tell. If they continued to battle like this, these two people would soon run out of stamina. Her heart seemed to be pricked by needles. She pushed Yu Ming and turned her head. Her slightly reddened eyes stared fiercely at the formation. "Send me to the battle plane immediately." Immediately. The eye of the devouring formation was shocked by the look in her eyes. It responded with a trembling voice. Just as she was about to lead the way, Netherworld's calm voice came, "Miss Yi, you don't have to be so impatient. Calm down." Yi Qing Luo's charming eyes were filled with anger as she stared coldly at Yu Ming. "When the person you care about is in the battle plane, will you show me how to calm down?" Yu Ming was taken aback. He seemed to subconsciously replace Yu Nu with Yan Xiao Yi and Xiao Jin. His heart suddenly tightened. If it was another woman who entered the battle plane, he indeed wouldn't be able to calm down. Seeing Yu Ming's eyes filled with struggle, a glint flashed past Yi Qing Luo's eyes. It seemed that this fellow called Yu Ming really cared about someone in his heart. "I have a way to keep them safe for now." Yu Ming looked at the two people supporting each other on the screen. "So, you don't have to rush to the battle dimension. Temporarily safe." Yi Qing Luo raised her brows. "What I want is not temporary." Chapter 1836. You weren't devoured by the godless spell formation, and you were even able to tame the spell formation core and send you to the battle plane. You can only say that you were lucky. Yu Ming solemnly looked at the devouring formation eye, which was hiding at the side. "However, if you enter the battle dimension, you won't have the chance to transfer dimensions anymore." In other words, he couldn't possibly go to the battle dimension and bring Yan Xiao Yi and Xiao Jin to the 21st century dimension. Because, once he went there would be no chance for him to come back. Compared to the battle plane, without a doubt, he would be able to live longer if he chose the 21st century. Yi Qing Luo pursed her pink lips as she stared at the battle between the two people on the screen. She tried hard not to let her emotions show on her face. Yu Ming continued, "The vast water divine weapon only exists in the tomb of the Yi clan's ancestor in the 21st century. If you leave this plane, it means that you will never be able to collect a complete set of the vast water divine weapon." Yi Qing Luo's brows creased slightly. She could not refute Netherworld's words. She had promised Old Man Tsang that she would gather a set of blue water divine tools. Moreover, the vast water divine weapon was a special existence to her. Leave this plane. This also meant that the vast water divine weapon in the ancestral tomb would forever be sealed in the ancestral tomb. She couldn't help but praise this fellow called Netherworld. He was very smart and knew how to capture people's hearts. She wanted to use the Netherworld. Instead, he was led by the nose by the Netherworld. "How long is the temporary safety you mentioned?" A clear and elegant voice came from behind him. Dmo Xian slowly walked to Yi Qing Luo's side, his long arms wrapped around her tightly. The elegant sandalwood scent lingered around Yi Qing Luo. She felt the familiar warmth of the man. Yi Qing Luo's restless heart immediately calmed down. She looked up at the man's handsome chin and said in a voice that only the two of them could hear, "A Xian knows me best." Dmo Xian lowered his gaze. Her peach blossom eyes sparkled with a dazzling charm. His thin lips curled up slightly, and his gaze seemed to be saying, "Of course, I understand my woman." From the moment Yu Ming appeared, Yi Qing Luo knew that this person was the owner of the profound chi fluctuation which she sensed from the wealthy district in the Century Garden. His strength might very well be above hers. She was a profound practitioner of the sky profound realm. Netherworld strength was above hers. Netherworld was definitely not someone from the Nirvana realm. He said that he had been in this plane for 10 years. But he knew her like the back of his hand. Towards Yu Ming's words, Yi Qing Luo only believed 30% of it. And the reason why he was making a deal with the Netherworld here. It was to use the power of the Netherworld to save Yan Xiao Yi and Xiao Jin from that plane. However, Yu Ming was clearly unable to do so. It was impossible to tell if this was true or not. She didn't know. 3 days. Netherworld raised 3 fingers and replied calmly, "I can separate them from those monsters with the technology of the 21st century." Quarantine. 21st century technology. You can travel between planes. However, he can only be isolated for 3 days at most. Netherworld's voice was solemn. However, if the monster mutates, we might not be able to hold on for 2 days. If I can't be sure of my brother's safety, I can't be at ease and make plans for my own matters. Yi Qing Luo rejected him without any hesitation. What I want is my brother's 100% safety. Your uncertainty factor is unable to convince me. Yi Qing Luo had already dispelled the idea of making use of the netherworld. It was impossible for her to gamble with Xiao Jin and Xiao Yi's lives. Star. Chapter 1837. You really don't want the vast water god relic. Yu Ming frowned, seemingly unable to understand Yi Qing Luo's thoughts. Yi Qing Luo had already urged the devouring array to lead the way. Hearing Yu Ming's words, she turned her head and fixed her gaze on Yu Ming. I want the vast aqua god relic, but I want my brother to live on peacefully. Her voice was calm, not mixed with any other emotions. Yu Ming was stunned. He pursed his lips and didn't speak again. Yi Qing Luo turned around. Let's go. What she needed to do now was to head to the battle dimension and rescue Yan Xiao Yi and Xiao Jin. The so-called rules of the godless formation were merely rules set by the person who set up the formation. Since they were able to tame a formation and travel to another plane, there would be a way to return to the 21st century from the battle plane. Saving his brother came first. The matter of gathering the deep water divine artifact could be thought of later. Yu Ming watched as the three of them left. The screen in his hand suddenly disappeared from his palm. He quickly caught up with her. Miss Yi, I only have one goal, and that is to bring me back to our time. I believe that you have the ability to do so, and you are the only ones who can help me. How about this? I'll do my best to ensure that you and your brother will be completely unharmed for the next 3 days. Is that okay? Yi Qing Luo's footsteps halted as she casted a sidelong glance at him. Yu Ming, what do you have to make me believe you? You said that he would be unharmed for 3 days, but will he really be unharmed for 3 days? Yu Ming's remaining words were all stuck in his throat, unable to rebuke Yi Qing Luo's words. That's right, this was the first time he and Yi Qing Luo met. On what basis did he ask Yi Qing Luo to believe him? Yu Ming clenched his fists tightly, and he hesitated for a short while before he gnashed his teeth and said in the end, I can give you this nether mirror. You can pay attention to the situation of those 2 brothers of yours at all times through the nether mirror. Nether mirror. She should be referring to the screen that just popped out of her palm. She did not expect that the netherworld would be willing to use the underworld mirror in exchange for her trust. He was really going all out. Yi Qing Luo's eyes narrowed as she suddenly laughed. But how would I know that the thing projected from your underworld mirror is an illusion which you created to confuse me? She spread out her hands and shrugged helplessly. Forgive me for not being able to fully trust you. After all, it concerns my 2 brothers. I can't allow any accidents to happen. Yu Ming's face stiffened. His scarlet eyes flashed with a red light. He had not expected Yi Qing Luo to be so stubborn. For his brother, was he really willing to give up the chance to obtain the vast water divine artifact? One had to know that obtaining the vast water divine artifact would greatly improve her strength. Moreover, she had personally witnessed the brutality and slaughter in that battle dimension. If he went, he would most likely die. Why did she still choose to go to the battle plane without any hesitation? Was the so-called brotherhood really more important than their own interests? The netherworld could not understand such affection. He only knew that ever since he was born, he was the Venerable One's dog. He had companions who had grown up with him. However, because of his scarlet eyes, those people all thought of him as a monster. No one wanted to be close to him. Except for... You knew. So he really didn't understand why Yi-Ching Luo would choose to sacrifice everything for the brotherhood. Thinking of Yu Ming's heart slowly sunk. He must hurry back to Nirvana realm. He wanted to see Yu so badly. If he didn't return, his Yu would probably be snatched away by Yu Han. Chapter 1838. Miss Yi, I'll tell you how to use the underworld mirror. You control the underworld mirror yourself, so I have no way to fake it. Yu Ming rushed forward again and blocked the path of the three of them. He fixed his gaze on Yi-Ching Luo's eyes. I really want to return to Nirvana realm, there's someone waiting for me there. His gaze was very sincere. He was so sincere that it seemed as if there was indeed someone waiting for him. He had painstakingly wanted to go back to their era. It was all for that person. Lil Luo, Dmo Xian spoke before Yi-Ching Luo opened her mouth. Since Mr. Yu is so sincere, let's agree to it. Ah Xian. Yi-Ching Luo frowned. Just as she was about to say something, she felt a pain on her waist. Dmo Xian's hand pinched her waist. Her voice paused as she looked at Dmo Xian in puzzlement. Dmo Xian's thin lips curled up as he glanced at Yu Ming with a smile which didn't look like a smile. The person waiting for Mr. Yu in Nirvana realm should be a lady, right? Yu Ming lowered his head, as though he was a little shy. Yes. Dmo Xian's brows rose as he glanced sideways at Yi-Ching Luo, his slender fingers tapping on her forehead. Did you hear that? If you don't agree to Mr. Yu's request, isn't it breaking up a pair of lovers? Yes, whatever you say makes sense. Yi-Ching Luo didn't know what Dmo Xian was trying to do as she rolled her eyes. She didn't speak. She didn't express whether to agree or reject. When Yu Ming saw this, he flipped his palm and immediately presented the underworld mirror to Yi-Ching Luo. This is the underworld mirror. As long as you cover the mirror with profound qi, you will be able to see what you want to see within a certain range. Within a certain range. Yi-Ching Luo caught onto this word. How far does this range refer to? You mean, Xiao Yi and Qiao Jin are actually not far away from me. This range refers to the range of the same parallel space. Netherworld explained, just like how we all came in through the soulless formation, we naturally belong to the same parallel space. We only need some simple information, and the Netherworld mirror will automatically search for it. The information that matches the user's plane of existence will appear on the mirror. So it's like this. Yi-Ching Luo nodded her head thoughtfully. I have already cleansed my own profound energy. I only need to inject your profound energy into it. Yu Ming said. Yi-Ching Luo looked at Yu Ming suspiciously. The hand on her waist squeezed her again. She glared at him sideways and reached out to take the dark mirror. Try it. Dmo Xian's voice floated down from above. Yi-Ching Luo imitated Yu Ming's earlier action as she placed her palm on the mirror. A stream of dark force immediately wrapped around the nether mirror. Immediately after, she felt an extremely strong resonance from the depths of her heart. A suction force pulled her hand firmly against the dark mirror. Before Yi-Ching Luo could react, Dmo Xian suddenly held her waist tightly and placed his hand on the back of her hand, which was pressed against the mirror. The majestic profound energy was like a hot knife through butter. The man's dark force was injected into her body. Yi-Ching Luo only felt a scorching sensation on her palm. She could vaguely see Netherworld, who was beside her, shouting at her with a face full of resentment and anger. Yi-Ching Luo couldn't hear the surrounding sounds. All he could hear was the sound of the strong wind whistling in his ears. Suddenly, Yi-Ching Luo felt a surge of energy gushing into her heart. The next moment, Dmo Xian's palm moved away. The strong wind around him gradually calmed down. Chapter 1839. Miss Yi. Yu Ming's face was steely green as he bellowed furiously. After the whirlpool around Yi-Ching Luo had dissipated, He strode towards Yi Qing Luo as he gritted his teeth and stretched out his hand to grab Yi Qing Luo's collar. But before he could get close to Yi Qing Luo, a ray of profound qi came towards him. Yu Ming's reaction was swift as he rolled on the ground, avoiding that profound qi attack. He stared fiercely at Dmo Xian. That fellow had a protective look on his face, as though saying, "You dare to bully my wife, I'll let you know why the flowers are red." Yu Ming knew how powerful Dmo Xian was. He could only suppress the rage in his heart as he tried his best to make his voice sound more peaceful. "Don't you feel that you've gone too far?" But no matter how he suppressed it, Yu Ming's tone was filled with viciousness which couldn't be concealed. Yi Qing Luo propped up her weak body as her brows creased as she took a look at her palm. She actually took the underworld mirror as her own. That's right, she took it as her own. Just as she wanted to use her profound energy to activate the underworld mirror, Dmo Xian had already led her to contract the underworld mirror, which meant that this heaven-defying underworld mirror belonged to her now. It was impossible for Yu Ming to take it back even if he wanted to. Realizing this, Yi Qing Luo was speechless. She had not expected that Dmo Xian's original plan was actually this. Her Xian had learned bad things, deceiving Yu Ming in a serious manner as he passed the underworld mirror into her hands, and then robbing it on the spot as a matter of course. Towards this, Yi Qing Luo only wanted to say one sentence: "Beautifully done." Looking at Yu Ming's expression, which looked as though he had just eaten *T, Yi Qing Luo couldn't help but laughed out loud. This laugh completely infuriated Yu Ming. "You! Yi Qing Luo, that's mine." Yu Ming clenched his fists tightly as he bellowed in rage. The god relic which he had been relying on had been with him for a full 2 years. He hadn't even been able to contract the underworld mirror. Suddenly the person whom he had schemed against contracted the underworld mirror which he had been longing for, and even forcefully took it as her own right in front of him. Who could tolerate that? Who would be able to endure such humiliation? Looking at Yu Ming's fiendish look, Yi Qing Luo decisively chose to hug Dmo Xian's waist tightly as she blinked her innocent eyes. "I also want to return it to you, but how should I return it?" She tilted her head, vividly portraying the image of an ignorant young girl. Yu Ming held a breath in his throat, but he couldn't spit it out. "That's right, we've already formed a contract. How can I return it?" Even if they wanted to terminate the contract, they would have to wait for a year after the contract was established. Looking at Yi Qing Luo's innocent smile, Yu Ming didn't feel that this young lady was innocent. The more he looked, the angrier he became. "Prince Yu." Suddenly, Dmo Xian's sonorous voice was clear and mellow. "Since you want to return to Nirvana realm and reunite with your beloved woman, I'm afraid that just the benefit of the vast water god relic is far from enough." His thin lips were slightly raised, and his shimmering peach blossom eyes were like stars in the sky. He looked at the netherworld and smiled. That smile was peerless and unparalleled. However, Yu Ming sensed a terrifying threat coming from him. This kind of threatening feeling, even from a revered, he didn't have such a strong feeling. Dmo Xian. Just how powerful was he? Chapter 1840. Netherworld lowered his head in silence. Dmo Xian continued to laugh. "So, using the underworld mirror to exchange for your reunion with the woman you love, isn't it worth it?" Lord of the Underworld opened his mouth, but found himself unable to refute. How could he have forgotten? When the two of them were put together, it was a combination that could kill people without paying with their lives. In order to lure Yi Qing Luo to take the bait, he took the initiative to hand over the Ming Mirror. Today, Ming Mirror had already contracted with Yi Qing Luo. He had connected to the underworld mirror, but there was no medium to contact the Venerable One anymore. If he didn't follow the two of them back to the Nirvana realm, I'm afraid, he really wouldn't have the chance to see Yu Nu again. Thinking of this, Netherworld could only clench his teeth and swallow his resentment. It's worth it. As long as you can bring me back to the Nirvana realm, even if I have to pay with my life, it's worth it. The pressure in Dmo Xian's smile gradually dissipated. Yu Ming hadn't even caught his breath when he heard Yiqing Luo saying, "Mr. Yu, there's no time to lose. Please immediately isolate my brothers from that group of monsters." Yu Ming almost spat out a mouthful of blood, forcefully forming a contract with his divine artifact. Now, she even wanted him to use his power to protect her brother. However, now that things had come to this, he could only obey. With a gloomy face, he gritted his teeth and said, "First, bring out the situation of your brother's plane. How do I adjust it?" Yiqing Luo flipped her palm and the Ming mirror appeared in her palm. Yu Ming suppressed his anger and explained the steps in detail. Yiqing Luo's comprehension ability was extremely high. In just a moment, the situation of the battle plane was changed to the mirror plane. Yu Ming looked at where Yan Xiaoyi and Qiao Jin were. He took out something that looked like a gun from his pocket. He aimed at the mirror and suddenly fired a shot. A silver light shot out from the muzzle. It shot straight into the dark mirror. Immediately following that, Yiqing Luo saw on the screen, Yan Xiaoyi and Qiao Jin's surroundings were enveloped by silver light. The silver light quickly formed an elevator-like space at a speed visible to the naked eye. When the surrounding monsters saw this, they all rushed towards the direction of the silver light. But before he could get close, the monster bounced off. Over the past 10 years, I've invited over 100 scientists to research this defensive barrier. It can't be broken by swords or spears. Even a profound practitioner like me can't break it. Yu Ming put the spear away. His face was still ashen. Originally, this was my secret weapon to protect myself. Now, I've given it to your brothers. You promised me. I hope you won't go back on your word. Yiqing Luo looked at the both of them who were well protected by the protective cover, leaning against it to rest. Her heart, which was hanging in suspense, finally calmed down. Can this thing really last for 3 days? She asked again. Netherworld cast a sidelong glance at her. Before the launch, I had already activated the super protective mode. 3 days is definitely not a problem. The dark mirror is in your hands now. You can use it to check on the situation at any time. Yiqing Luo kept the mirror, then many thanks to you. 3 days should be enough. The food in Yan Xiaoyi and Qiao Jin's space pockets should be enough for them to last for 3 days. She lifted her eyes and fixed them on Yu Ming. All right, young master Yu, you can tell me your real motive now. Yu Ming's brows twitched as he met Yiqing Luo's chilly gaze. He went into a blank as he suppressed the panic in his heart. My motive is to return to Nirvana realm. I don't have the patience to beat around the bush with you. Yiqing Luo interrupted his words. Since you've already resolved the matter that I'm worried about, as long as your request doesn't touch my bottom line, I can satisfy you. Her lips curled as she said word by word, what do you want from the Yi family's late emperor's tomb? Star. Chapter 1841. Yu Ming licked his dry lips and wanted to quibble. Yu Ming, since you've done an investigation on me, you must be very clear about my character. Yiqing Luo interrupted him again with a smile. The smile in her eyes became colder. I'm not in the mood to play this kind of game with you. If you can't be frank with me, then. She paused, the coldness in her eyes intensified. I'll take back what I said earlier. Yu Ming was stunned, his scarlet eyes flashed with a burning red light. Take back what she said earlier, that she would satisfy his request. Indeed, he had done an investigation on Yiqing Luo and knew her character well. Once she said to take it back, there was really no room to change it. Yu Ming sighed, took out a red brocade box from his pocket and handed it to Yiqing Luo. I do have another purpose. Yiqing Luo raised her brows and took the brocade box. This brocade box looked like a proposal ring. She opened it with her fingertips and saw a marble-sized crystal ball lying in the brocade box. The sparkling flowing light was extremely dazzling. "I hope you will bring this crystal ball with you when you enter the late emperor's tomb," Yuming said indifferently. "What is this thing?" Yiqing Luo narrowed her eyes and looked at the crystal ball carefully. She had handled a lot of high technology when she went out on various missions. But really, she couldn't tell what material this crystal ball was made of. After a moment of silence, Yuming shook his head and said, "I can only tell you that I do want something from the tomb of the late emperor, but I can't tell you what it is exactly. This crystal ball will help me find what I want." Yiqing Luo raised her brows. What if the target of this crystal ball is also the vast aqua divine relic? Or has other uses? The Lord beside you should be able to tell. Yuming replied in a neither servile nor overbearing manner. Yiqing Luo raised her eyes and looked at Dmo Xian. She saw him nodding slightly. This crystal ball indeed didn't have any effect on Yiqing Luo to attack or harm her. "I can guarantee that the thing I want is absolutely not the vast aqua divine relic. Even if I truly wanted the ocean water artifact, with you present, the ocean water artifact would choose you on its own." The connection between the descendant of the Yi clan and the azure divine weapon was not something an ordinary person could match. Snatch the azure water artifact from Yiqing Luo. There was no chance of victory at all. "All right, I promise you." Yiqing Luo didn't hesitate any further as she placed the crystal ball back into the brocade box and placed it into the profound phoenix ring. She still maintained a skeptical attitude towards Yuming. This man, from the moment he appeared, he wanted to make use of her. Of course, she was also plotting against the netherworld. Because of this, Yiqing Luo didn't feel any guilt for forcefully contracting the dark mirror, nor did she feel any awkwardness of becoming a robber. She would choose to accept the conditions of the netherworld. It was all because he had protected Qiao Jin and Yan Xiaoyi. "Let's go, hurry up and head to the late emperor's tomb first," Yiqing Luo urged. Even though they had confirmed Qiao Jin and Yan Xiaoyi's safety, she would still worry. He had to end the battle quickly and settle the matter at hand. "Let's hurry to the combat plane." Only by personally protecting Qiao Jin and Yan Xiaoyi could she truly feel at ease. Plane change. Location, combat plane time. Yan Xiaoyi and Qiao Jin had just entered the godless array 1 hour later. Chapter 1842. The black scythe blade in Yan Xiaoyi's hand was already stained with blood. Qiao Jin stood in front of Yan Xiaoyi to protect her, constantly releasing profound qi to push away the approaching monsters. Both of their faces were pale. Large beads of sweat flowed down their foreheads. The monsters here could not be killed at all. No matter how many monsters they killed, those monsters would reassemble and become another type of monster with higher attack power and stronger battle strength. Especially, when the number of monsters killed in one go was too many. Those monsters would then stack together to form a new and powerful monster. In just a short hour, the strength of the two was almost exhausted. "What the hell is this place? We clearly escaped into the secret passage, how did we suddenly appear in this place?" Yan Xiaoyi said while panting. Qiao Jin did not answer. His vigilant eyes scanned the surroundings. All around him was a pitch-black void. Thousands of stars were faintly flickering, embellishing this pitch-black space with a little light. The surrounding monsters were torn apart and then reassembled again. Except for the 10 monsters that had been besieging them. There were also countless monsters that covered the sky, constantly killing each other. The most shocking thing was, when one of the monsters had finished killing the other monster, the monster's body started to tremble. Before the monster was about to reassemble, The victorious monster directly swallowed the broken limbs of the other monster into its own body, turning it into its own strength. This place. If I'm not wrong, this is a space plane very far away from the Nirvana realm, called the battle plane. Qiao Jin pondered for a moment, and finally gave an explanation. Battle plane. Yan Xiaoyi used the black scythe blade to kill a monster that was charging over, and looked at Qiao Jin in shock. There's really such a place. The legend of the battle plane. She had only heard of it. No one had ever confirmed it. She did not expect that one day, they would actually come to this legendary place called Hell. The battle plane was a hell. An extremely painful hell that could only be truly released by death. In the battle plane, there was only continuous fighting, endless fighting, fighting until death, being swallowed by other monsters, was the true release. Otherwise, they could only fight with their lives on the line, fight. Killing, blood. This was the true portrayal of the battle dimension. However, if one wanted to survive in the battle plane, they would have to be careful. They could only fight non-stop, devour the defeated monsters, absorb their power, and fight other monsters. Perhaps it had been devoured to a certain extent. Only then would he be able to truly escape from the battle dimension. However, neither Yan Xiaoyi nor Qiao Jin thought of devouring the defeated monster. This kind of devouring was too disgusting. Chapter 1843. I will definitely protect you. I will definitely protect you. Protect you. This sentence kept reverberating in Yan Xiaoyi's mind. She blinked her beautiful eyes and looked into Qiao Jin's eyes. There was a part of her heart that suddenly softened a little. With this sentence of his. With his strong arms hugging her. She didn't feel that those monsters around her were anything to be afraid of. There seemed to be a warm current in her heart that was spreading through her limbs and bones. He said that he would definitely protect her. With such a loving gaze. It was as if she was his entire world. He couldn't bear for her to be hurt in the slightest. However, Yan Xiaoyi only dared to secretly think that in her heart. She knew that this man's protection towards her wasn't the kind of feeling she had imagined. However, she still felt sweet and moved. Yan Xiaoyi's gaze was as gentle as water. As if she wanted to melt Qiao Jin. Qiao Jin's heart trembled slightly as he suppressed the urge to hug the woman fiercely and looked away. Be careful. He threw out these two words as if to hide his inner thoughts. The gold coin dart in his hand once again flew towards the monster that was charging over. When he opened his eyes in a panic, he didn't notice Yan Xiaoyi's slightly pale face and the slight frown of pain between her brows. Yan Xiaoyi tried hard to control her breathing and tried to make it as smooth as possible so that Qiao Jin wouldn't notice anything amiss. The corners of her lips curled up slightly as her eyes were filled with affection. She buried herself in Qiao Jin's embrace and hugged his waist tightly with both hands. She breathed in Qiao Jin's scent. Her heart seemed to be filled with something. In her eyes, there were no monsters, no empty space, no plane of battle. In her eyes, there was only Qiao Jin. Perhaps it was because she felt that her life was gradually fading away. Or perhaps it was because there was no result in this plane. The expression on Yan Xiaoyi's face became increasingly gentle. She looked up, her beautiful eyes gentle as she gazed at Qiao Jin's side profile. Suddenly, she chuckled softly. Qiao Jin's body froze when he heard her laughter. He kicked a monster away and took a few steps back with Yan Xiaoyi in his arms. The monster crashed into the other monster. They immediately engaged in a fierce battle. Qiao Jin hugged Yan Xiaoyi tightly and took an illusory step. He passed by the monsters and quickly headed towards the direction where there were fewer monsters. The footwork which he had learned from Yi Qing Luo, Qiao Jin displayed it to the fullest. The monsters did not even have time to react. The two people in front of him had already disappeared. when they want to chase. In the next instant, he was caught up by another monster. There was no place to hide in the void. No matter where he went, there were monsters. The two of them flashed in the void, carefully avoiding the monster's line of sight. Chapter 1844. So, those people can only be outsiders. Yan Xiaoyi smiled lightly. In my eyes, you are very handsome. Perhaps because he was shy, Qiao Jin lowered his head and did not respond. His face was covered by Yan Xiaoyi's hair. It was faintly visible that his earlobe was dyed red. After a moment of silence, Yan Xiaoyi laughed softly. She rubbed her head against Qiao Jin's chest like a kitten. Her soft voice sounded ethereal. Slut Jin, when we were in the secret room, you heard what she Shanglan and I said, right? The man's body stiffened. Yan Xiaoyi clearly felt that the chest under her head had hardened a little. The smile on the face of the woman who buried her head in the man's chest dimmed a little. After a while, she laughed bitterly. She took a deep breath, as if to calm herself down. Her hands around his waist loosened slightly. Qiao Jin opened his mouth and wanted to say something. But he did not have the words, and did not know how to explain. In the next moment, he heard the woman's helpless voice drifting into his ears. I told Shi Shanglan that I like you, and the person I love is you. The body of the man who was hugging her became more and more stiff. She raised her head and looked at the man's eyes with her clear and beautiful eyes. She raised her lips and smiled. Yes, Qiao Jin, I like you. I, Yan Xiaoyi, like you. Qiao Jin's expression gradually froze on his face. Yan Xiaoyi saw the shock and panic in his eyes. He really didn't like her. Even being liked by her, he felt annoyed. Yan Xiaoyi laughed in a low voice. Slut Jin, do you feel bad about dying with someone you hate? Xiaoyi. Qiao Jin tightened his arms and his eyes flickered. I don't hate you. Yan Xiaoyi smiled. Then do you like me? Qiao Jin's thin lips trembled as if he wanted to say something. In the end, he closed his mouth and did not give any answer. Yan Xiaoyi's bright smile gradually lost its light. She leaned her head on Qiao Jin's shoulder again. I know you don't want to hurt our brotherhood. Even if you don't say anything, I understand. It doesn't matter if you don't like me. It's enough that I like you. Anyway, at least at this time, the person by your side is me. Yan Xiaoyi's voice became increasingly ethereal. Qiao Jin's heart tightened when he heard this, as if there were thousands of silver needles fiercely stabbing into his heart. He wanted to hug Yan Xiaoyi tightly and kiss her lips. He wanted to use his own warmth to warm her somewhat cold body. Her smile, so painful. He wanted to drive away all her unhappiness. But he couldn't. In the end, Qiao Jin only hugged Yan Xiaoyi tightly and whispered into her ear, we won't die. We definitely won't die. But Slut Jin, I no longer have the strength to fight. Yan Xiaoyi laughed lightly. Her breathing was light and shallow, as though she would stop breathing in the next moment. His body gradually turned cold. Her soft voice seemed to be interrupted at any time. Qiao Jin's pupils suddenly widened. He tightened his arms and lifted the face of the woman in his arms. You're injured. As though to prove his words. Blood suddenly flowed out from the corner of Yan Xiaoyi's mouth. That blood was not an ordinary red. It was a kind of jet black. Xiaoyi. Qiao Jin's arms tightened. When did she get injured? Why didn't he sense it at all? No wonder, she who had always been proud would appear to be such a small woman. She was injured. In this battle plain, injured and powerless to fight. There was only one result. Chapter 1845. I'm fine. Yen Xiaoyi smiled. Black blood stained her pale lips. Her pair of clear and beautiful eyes were gradually covered by a layer of hazy mist. She wanted to raise her hand and caress Xiao Jin's face. But all her strength had long been exhausted. She clenched her fingers and finally gave up the thought of touching him. Xiaoyi, don't speak first, I will bring you out of here, I will definitely bring you out of here. Xiao Jin looked at Yen Xiaoyi's pale face and lifeless eyes. The dull pain in the bottom of his heart twitched. Yen Xiaoyi smiled weakly. Slut Jin, before you talk big, look around you first. She sighed softly in her heart. Someone as stupid as Slut Jin. If she really died like this. With his intelligence, could he really leave this plane alive? He clearly knew that in the surroundings, other than fighting monsters, there were monsters that were assembling. He even made such a loud noise and caused such a huge commotion. One must know that the two of them were hiding not far from the two largest monsters. Xiao Jin's shout just now immediately attracted the attention of the surrounding monsters. Two enormous monsters surrounded the two of them. One of them raised its voice and let out a long howl. Countless monsters in the surroundings stopped fighting and rushed over. In a short while, the two of them were completely surrounded in the middle by the monsters. This is troublesome. Yen Xiaoyi sighed softly. No matter where it is, it's the law of the jungle. Look, even if it's a fighting plane, there's a strong that rules this plane. Xiao Jin's face darkened as he stared at the surroundings, at the ferocious-looking wild beasts, a cold and vicious air flowing in his eyes. Faintly, in this pitch-black space, flashing an almost undetectable golden light. Slut Jin, after I die, swallow me up. After all, I'm a human. If you swallow me, you'll at most swallow my power, you won't become a monster like them. Yen Xiaoyi panted lightly as she nestled in his arms and said softly. What nonsense are you saying? Xiao Jin lowered his eyes and glared at her fiercely. I said before, I will protect you, neither of us will die, don't say such disheartening words to me. But you can't hold on any longer, can you? Yen Xiaoyi looked at the sweat on his forehead. If you bring me along, I'll only be a burden to you. If you're alone, you might be able to leave alive. She took a deep breath and looked at Xiao Jin's face with some seriousness. Slut Jin, you don't like me anyway. Whether I live or die doesn't affect you much, does it? You put all your strength into your mouth. Can't you just shut up? Xiao Jin was agitated by Yen Xiaoyi's ear-piercing words. In your heart, I'm someone who would abandon my heart, my brothers in order to live. Aren't you looking down on me too much? If we want to leave, let's leave together. If we want to live, let's live together. Yen Xiaoyi's hazy eyes flickered. She lowered her eyelids, her heart palpitating slightly. Abandon the heart. Heart of what? Is it the one I love? Not knowing why, in Yen Xiaoyi's mind, these four words actually surfaced, but if that was the case, why did he change his words in the end? The sudden tightening of the waist caused Yen Xiaoyi's face to turn slightly pale. She raised her head and looked at the way Xiao Jin looked around. He placed the elemental energy pill into his mouth. Slut Jin. She suddenly spoke with the origin energy pill in her mouth. Xiao Jin's attention was focused on the surrounding monsters. When he heard Yen Xiaoyi's call, he turned to look at her. The next moment, his neck tightened. The woman hooked her arms around his neck. Then, the woman's lips, stained with blood, pressed against his lips. Yen Xiaoyi. Xiao Jin's lips were sealed by the woman and he roared the woman's name indistinctly. His eyes widened. She was too reckless. Yan Xiaoyi closed her eyes and used the tip of her tongue to push the elemental energy pill into his mouth. She did not give Qiao Jin any chance to react. The elemental energy pill had already slid down Qiao Jin's throat. Chapter 1847. After the pill entered Qiao Jin's mouth, Yan Xiaoyi seemed to have exhausted all her energy and fell into Qiao Jin's arms. She panted lightly and smiled brightly. "Slut Jin, you said you would protect me, so now, you have to protect me." Qiao Jin's pupils constricted and his hands couldn't stop hugging the woman in his arms. "Slut Jin, put me down," Yan Xiaoyi struggled lightly. "Don't move." Qiao Jin frowned. The surrounding monsters couldn't take it anymore. "I'm fine, I can still fight." Yan Xiaoyi frowned. "I just wanted to test whether you have me in your heart. I lied to you on purpose." "You?" Qiao Jin's eyes darkened when he heard that, but he quickly looked at her suspiciously. Obviously, he didn't believe her. "If I didn't do this, how would I get the truth out of you?" Yan Xiaoyi rolled her eyes at him. "If I really didn't have any energy, do you think you wouldn't resist when I put the pill in your mouth?" Her explanation was indeed reasonable. Qiao Jin's gaze sized up Yan Xiaoyi. He realized that Yan Xiaoyi's spirit was indeed much better than before when she looked like she was about to die at any moment. "If you really want to die here with me, I don't mind you hugging me to die together." Yan Xiaoyi raised her brows and revealed a teasing smile. You, Qiao Jin glared at her. His heart was both happy and angry. Happy that Yan Xiaoyi was fine. Angry that she dared to use her body to joke with him under such circumstances. What if these monsters went berserk? Did she really not take her own life seriously? Qiao Jin let go of Yan Xiaoyi's body. "Don't try to be brave. If you can't do it, just hide by my side and don't leave me. Women can't say no." Yan Xiaoyi's brows curved into a teasing smile and immediately summoned the black sickle blade. "Stop talking nonsense, the monsters won't give us any more time to rest." Yan Xiaoyi's spirited look made Qiao Jin completely relax. He who had consumed the pill. At this moment, the profound energy in his body was in a state of swelling and tumbling. Pinching 3 gold coin darts with his fingertips, he had already charged towards the direction of the monsters. He didn't notice. The moment he flew away, a figure appeared in front of him. The woman wielding the black scythe swayed slightly. His face, which was pretending to be calm, instantly turned as pale as paper. He did not look half as spirited as he was just now. It was indeed Qing Luo's medicinal pill. It was just that when it entered her mouth, there was a trace of taste. Can let her maintain a short spirit. Fortunately, he deceived Qiao Jin. She took a light breath and gripped the black scythe tightly. Using the strength of the black scythe, she supported her shaky body. Her gaze fell on the man who was fighting with the monster. She absolutely could not become Qiao Jin's burden. No matter what, she wanted Qiao Jin to live on. Yan Xiaoyi raised the black scythe blade and used the last of her willpower to join the battle to kill the monsters. Countless monsters attacked without any pause. Countless streams of blood spurted out. The monsters were torn apart and emitted a nauseating stench of blood. However, in the next instant, the pieces of flesh that had been torn apart reassembled into a new monster. No matter how he tried, he couldn't kill it. Just at this moment, Yan Xiaoyi's shoulder was scratched by a monster's sharp claw. She groaned in pain and quickly retreated a few steps. The black scythe blade suddenly stabbed into an empty surface. At least hang on till Qing Luo comes to save Qiao Jin. He swung the black scythe at the monster. With a flash of black light, the entire group of monsters was swallowed by the black light. This kind of battle immediately attracted even more monsters, who pounced at them. Qiao Jin looked at the beasts that kept charging at him. as well as the two huge beasts. He kept dodging. The coin dart in his hand was also constantly cutting down other monsters. But it was obvious that he was tired. Seeing this, the two huge beasts immediately ordered more monsters to chase after Qiao Jin. He wanted to take down Qiao Jin when he had lost his strength. Over 100 monsters surrounded Qiao Jin. Inside and outside, there were at least 3 layers of people. On Qiao Jin's ordinary face, there wasn't even a single bit of frightened expression. His eyes suddenly flashed past a biting cold glint. Following that, with a leap, he broke through hundreds of monsters, leaping up. Star. Chapter 1849. His slender fingers were holding 10 gold coin darts. The flames all over Qiao Jin's body suddenly soared at this moment. That invisible, enormous power was breathtaking, unable to look directly at it. Whoosh whoosh whoosh, a few sounds pierced through the air. Those 10 gold coin darts merged with Qi, and in a split second, rushed into the hundreds of monsters. Bang bang bang. Roar roar roar. Awoo. Awoo. Deafening screams suddenly resounded throughout the entire space. Those hundreds of monsters, in an instant, were torn into pieces by the 10 gold coin darts. Not a single one was left alive. At the same time, a black scythe blade, emitting the aura of death, pierced through the air. The black scythe blade floated among the thousands of monster limbs. The majestic aura of death immediately enveloped all the wreckage around it. Qiao Jin scurried out of the black scythe blade's aura of death, a relaxed smile on his face. He raised his eyebrows in Yan Shaoyi's direction. This tacit understanding is amazing. The two huge monsters roared angrily a few times. They finally understood that Qiao Jin had deliberately pretended to be physically weak just now, and then lured them all to surround him, and then killed them in one go. And then used Yan Shaoyi's black scythe blade to completely devour those hundreds of monsters. Not only did it save their energy, it also made the black scythe blade's power continuously increase. Shameless humans. They must devour these two humans. The huge eyes of the huge monsters shot out a beam of furious light. Yan Shaoyi looked at Qiao Jin's smiling face, and she wanted to return a smile. But when she threw the black scythe blade over, she had already exhausted all her strength. And without the support of the black scythe blade, Yan Shaoyi's entire body was powerless, and she half knelt on the ground. Shaoyi. Qiao Jin's pupils suddenly constricted, and the expression on his face was full of panic. The two huge monsters also saw Yan Shaoyi's current situation, and immediately summoned ordinary monsters to attack Yan Shaoyi. More than 10 monsters surrounded Yan Shaoyi. After the black scythe blade devoured those wreckage, it immediately rushed back to its owner's side. But, even though the black scythe blade's power had increased, Yan Shaoyi still had no strength to fight. And at this moment, there were still 2 monsters attacking Yan Shaoyi from behind. Sharp claws, sharp fangs, flickering with a cold light. Seeing that it was about to pierce into Yan Shaoyi's back. Shaoyi. Qiao Jin gave a heart-wrenching roar as he rushed towards Yan Shaoyi's direction. Hearing this voice, Yan Shaoyi knew that she was definitely in danger. Yan Shaoyi took a deep breath and gripped the black scythe tightly. His body followed closely behind, and he dodged to the side. The sharp claws scratched Yan Shaoyi's arm. Blood flowed out and dyed Qiao Jin's eyes red. Qiao Jin roared and stretched out his hand to stop Yan Shaoyi's falling body. Shaoyi. Are you alright? Qiao Jin carefully stared at Yan Shaoyi, his eyes filled with worry. Yan Shaoyi shook her head and relied on the strength of the black scythe to maintain her standing posture. I'm fine. How do you look like you're fine? Qiao Jin stretched out his hand and caressed Yan Shaoyi's face. Yan Xiaoyi shrunk back a little. I'm really fine. Don't forget, before we came in, we even took the 100 antidote pill that Xiaoyi refined. Apart from detoxifying effects, the 100 antidote pill also has the effect of nourishing the body. She smiled faintly and spoke very seriously. Xiao Jin frowned. Why had he never heard that the 100 antidote pill had the effect of nourishing the body? But they already didn't have time to think. Chapter 1850. If you can't hold on, hold me tight. You can climb on my back at any time. Xiao Jin said in a low voice, and began to rush into the monster hunt. Yan Xiaoyi's face was pale. She looked at the black scythe in her hand, and slowly closed her eyes. The 100 solution pill indeed did not have that effect. What she said was a lie to Xiao Jin. At this time, if she did not let Xiao Jin relax, Xiao Jin would be distracted by her, and both of them would die in the monster horde. Her only way now was to combine her and the black scythe into one. To let the black scythe use this body of hers to fight. A gust of deathly air shot out from the black scythe. That deathly air, in a split second, followed Yan Xiaoyi's hand, and spread throughout her entire body. When Xiao Jin noticed the change in the woman's aura behind him, and turned around, Yan Xiaoyi had already combined with the black scythe. Her beautiful eyes, in the pitch-black void, were extremely dazzling. As her eyes moved, the deathly air flowed. That originally extremely beautiful face was now even more exquisite. Her temperament also underwent an earth-shattering change at this moment. If the previous Yan Xiaoyi was like a mischievous and adorable girl, then the current Yan Xiaoyi was like the night god who blended into the night, and also like a Rakshasa from hell. Her entire body was filled with a frighteningly cold aura. Xiaoyi. Xiao Jin's expression changed slightly, not understanding Yan Xiaoyi's sudden change. Shut up. The clear voice was sinister and cold. Take care of yourself, don't drag me down. This was indeed Yan Xiaoyi's voice. And he had seen this voice coming from Yan Xiaoyi's mouth with his own eyes. But this tone, these words. It did not sound like something Yan Xiaoyi would say. He was full of questions, but Yan Xiaoyi did not give him time to answer them. Yan Xiaoyi had already grasped the black scythe tightly, and started a frenzied massacre. Xiao Jin was speechless, and could only cooperate. The two fought side by side, and gave their backs to each other. Even Xiao Jin was extremely curious about Yan Xiaoyi's current change. But such a change did not affect the tacit understanding between the two. The cooperation of the two, the brutal massacre. There was no end to it. This battle was incomparably fierce, and the time limit was extremely long. In the chaotic battle, no matter how strong the two of them were, it was inevitable that they would be injured. The movements of the two of them gradually slowed down. Yan Xiaoyi put her body and mind under the control of the black sickle blade. However, this method could not last for too long. After a long time, the two of them were covered in scattered scars. The sight of human blood made the monsters howl even louder. More and more monsters appeared around them. Yan Xiaoyi and Xiao Jin kept thinking of ways to break through the monsters and attack the two huge monsters. As long as he killed those two monsters, he would be able to kill them. These monsters would definitely worship them as kings. However, they couldn't get close at all. The two huge monsters were protected by the tens of thousands of monsters. Death was like a rock, pressing down on their hearts. The black sickle blade knew its master's thoughts. If he didn't protect Xiao Jin until he ran out of energy, then Xiao Jin would be safe. She must not fall. Xiao Jin had the same thoughts. He must ensure Yan Xiaoyi's safety. Both of them were forcing themselves to hold on. In the battle, the black sickle blade constantly devoured the monsters to replenish its strength. Suddenly, the huge monster that had been wandering around the periphery. Unknowingly, it had already rushed into the group of monsters, quietly attacking Yan Xiaoyi's back. Star. Chapter 1851. Both of them were already exhausted. Yan Xiaoyi had no way of reacting to the sneak attack of the humongous monster. The huge monster's sharp claws slashed towards Yan Xiaoyi's back. Yan Xiaoyi is about to be torn into pieces. Qiao Jin suddenly grabbed Yan Xiaoyi's wrist and pulled Yan Xiaoyi into his embrace with force. At this moment, the deathly aura in Yan Xiaoyi's eyes suddenly dissipated. What replaced it was a pair of clear and beautiful eyes. The aura of the black sickle blade dissipated. Now, Yan Xiaoyi was just Yan Xiaoyi. Yan Xiaoyi's delicate body softened as she fell into his arms. Before he could react to what had happened, she only felt a gush of hot blood splatter on her face. Yan Xiaoyi's heart trembled as her eyes widened. The gigantic monster's attack pierced through Qiao Jin's shoulder. That warm blood was Qiao Jin's blood. Yan Xiaoyi's heart felt as if it was being torn apart by an ice-cold hand. No. Qiao Jin, no. Why did he save her? Why did he have to use his body to save her again and again? She didn't need it at all. She was clearly about to die. She wouldn't be able to survive until she left the battle plane. He thought back to the attack from the Nightwalker in the secret room. He stood in front of her without hesitation. Now, he once again stood in front of her. Yan Xiaoyi's eyes were covered with a layer of mist. Bean-sized teardrops rolled down uncontrollably. His tears mixed with the blood on his face, making him look extremely pathetic. Are you stupid? Don't you dislike me? Why do you always treat me like this? Why did you save me? After crying bitterly, her voice turned into a low whimper. This time, it was because of their brotherhood. What about the second time? Was this still brotherly love? She didn't believe it. Qiao Jin clearly liked her. However, Qiao Jin did not answer her. Instead, he raised his hand and gently stroked the blood on her face. He smiled warmly and asked, "Are you all right?" His gaze and tone were filled with urgency and eagerness. Yan Xiaoyi's tears fell even more violently. Even at this time, he was still thinking about whether she was all right. He was clearly the one who was in trouble. Yan Xiaoyi's eyes were misty with tears as she held Qiao Jin's hand tightly. Her voice was firm and slow. "Slut Jin, you've repeatedly risked your life to save me. Are you telling me that in your heart, you actually don't dislike me?" She curled her lips slightly. She suddenly raised her hand and placed it on his face. Her slender fingers caressed his face. It was clearly ordinary and had nothing special about it. Why did she fall in love with him? Yan Xiaoyi wanted to smile, but she no longer had the strength to maintain the smile on her face. Qiao Jin opened his mouth and was about to speak. But Yan Xiaoyi's fingers stopped it. But in the next instant, a pill was pushed down his throat by Yan Xiaoyi's finger. Qiao Jin had yet to regain his senses. Yan Xiaoyi was already smiling lightly as she shook her head. "Slut Jin, don't deny it, at least, at the very last moment, let me believe that you really like me, you." Qiao Jin's thin lips moved slightly, wanting to explain something. Suddenly, a scorching burning feeling spread out from the profound jade heart that was wrapped around his heart. He thought of the pill that Yan Xiaoyi had stuffed into his mouth just now. "Xiaoyi, what are you doing?" Yan Xiaoyi didn't know where the strength came from, but she suddenly raised her hand and forcefully pushed Qiao Jin away. "Xiaoyi, don't mess around." Qiao Jin steadied his feet and was just about to step forward and pull Yan Xiaoyi back. But he saw Yan Xiaoyi take a few steps back. She smiled lightly and shook her head. Star. Chapter 1852. Her smile was extremely beautiful, but it revealed an unconcealable determination. That smile nearly bewitched Xiao Jin's eyes. Xiao Jin's heart viciously felt a throbbing pain spreading throughout his body. His body stood stiffly on the spot, unable to move. He had interacted with Yan Xiaoyi for so many years. How could Xiao Jin not see what Yan Xiaoyi wanted to do now? His heart was in pain, his thin lips trembling. He wanted to pull Yan Xiaoyi back. However, the burning sensation in his body made it impossible for him to control his body. It was the pill that Yan Xiaoyi had just fed him. That pill that was of a higher grade than the essence energy pill. Just as he swallowed it down his throat, he could clearly feel the profound energy in his body surging violently like waves, crashing into every vein and tendon in his body. Xiao Jin looked at Yan Xiaoyi in a daze. His eyes were filled with pain. Since she had such a strong pill on her, why didn't she swallow it after being injured? Why did she give him all the elixir pills? If she died, because of him, she died in front of him. Did she think that he would live alone? Yan Xiaoyi looked deeply at Xiao Jin's face, like she wanted to remember his face in her mind with one last look. His lips trembled as he silently spat out the two words Xiaoyi. Although it was silent. But Yan Xiaoyi heard it extremely clearly. It seemed to have given her a lot of courage. Yan Xiaoyi slightly closed her beautiful eyes, a thin mist spreading at the bottom of her eyes. However, her smile was extremely beautiful and moving. Xiao Jin, if you can get out of here alive, please remember, there is a girl called Yan Xiaoyi who has always loved you. A drop of blood dripped from the corner of her eye. Like a blooming datura flower, unparalleled in beauty. After that, she turned around and leaped up. After thousands of monsters, those two huge monsters didn't even have time to react. They saw the figure of a human girl appear in front of them. They bared their fangs and were about to tear the girl in front of them into pieces. Only to see an intense light shoot out from the girl's body. No! Xiaoyi. Looking at that light shoot out and light up the entire empty space, a low roar exploded from Xiao Jin's throat. Yan Xiaoyi actually wanted to self-destruct. He wanted to use self-destruction to kill the two huge monsters. She wanted to create a way for him to live. Xiao Jin's pupils dilated bit by bit. In an instant, everything in front of him gradually disappeared. His eyes could only see the beautiful smile on Yan Xiaoyi's face, as well as the glow from her self-destruction. No, Yan Xiaoyi cannot die. He could not imagine a life without Yan Xiaoyi. He said he would protect her. He had said that both of them would definitely survive. He could not go back on his word. He could not go back on his word to Yan Xiaoyi. He wanted to live. He wanted Yan Xiaoyi to live. Chapter 1853. Xiao Jin's inky black eyes were actually covered by a circle of golden light. His eyes flickered with an extremely dazzling luster. Golden eyes. A pair of golden eyes. Not waiting for Yan Xiaoyi to be astonished. That man emitting enormous golden light all over was already flying straight over. His robes flapping in the wind showed how fast the man was. The surrounding monsters didn't even have a chance to approach Xiao Jin. Just as they neared, they were sent flying by the golden light around Xiao Jin. The monsters that were slightly closer were directly torn to pieces by the golden light. Then, the black scythe edge swiftly followed, completely devouring the shattered remains of the monsters. A hand tightly wrapped around Yan Xiaoyi's slender waist. Slut Jin, you can't. In the instant that Xiao Jin's hand wrapped around Yan Xiaoyi's waist, Yan Xiaoyi's pupils suddenly widened. Her hand struggled with all her might, wanting to push Qiao Jin away. She was mobilizing the power of her profound heart jade, wanting to detonate it and self-destruct. If Qiao Jin came over, he would be detonated by her as well. But, in the next instant, Yan Xiaoyi saw the golden light on Qiao Jin's body collide with the profound heart jade detonating light released from her body. With a bang, a wave of air rolled. The detonating light released from Yan Xiaoyi's body was abruptly torn apart, and suddenly dissipated. Ugh! Yan Xiaoyi's chest tightened, and a mouthful of blood sprayed onto Qiao Jin's body. The profound heart jade in her chest stopped its restless detonation. Yan Xiaoyi's entire body instantly softened, and she collapsed into Qiao Jin's embrace. Qiao Jin tightened his arms. Roar! The two enormous monsters felt that these two humans didn't put them in their eyes at all. Wasn't this looking down on the two monster leaders? The two enormous monsters instantly withdrew their many years of fighting, and gathered together to attack in the direction of the two humans. Careful! Yan Xiaoyi nestled in Qiao Jin's embrace, clearly seeing the two enormous monsters heading straight for Qiao Jin's back. She quickly spread her 5 fingers, and rushed forward, black scythe edge. The black scythe edge floated in midair, and with a flip, it flew towards Yan Xiaoyi's palm. Qiao Jin's arms tightly wrapped around the woman in his embrace. His deep voice was extremely calm. Don't move. Leave everything to me. This was an expression and tone that Qiao Jin had never used before. Yan Xiaoyi was stunned. She raised her head with difficulty and looked at Qiao Jin's face. The pair of golden eyes reflected her face. A luster that was as bright as the rising sun caused Yan Xiaoyi's cheeks to heat up. Clearly, it was still that ordinary face. But why did it exude a suffocating charm? Was this the change in temperament that had occurred? Yan Xiaoyi felt that her cheeks were getting hotter and she immediately buried her face in his arms. He said, "Leave it to him." She believed him. Qiao Jin must have improved. Just now, he had used his own strength to interrupt her from detonating her profound heart jade. It could be seen that Qiao Jin's current strength was absolutely not low. Ants like you dare to compete with the sun and moon. Qiao Jin's deep voice was like it shook the heavens and the earth, resounding throughout the entire void. After that, the golden light in his eyes flickered even brighter. A ray of golden light broke through the darkness of nothingness. It illuminated the battle plane extremely brightly. Rumble. The battle plane began to shake unceasingly. The surrounding void actually began to split open one after another. The two enormous monsters were also sent flying by the golden light. They still hadn't even had time to steady their feet. Qiao Jin's figure blurred, and he chased after the two enormous monsters in hot pursuit. Immediately, a foot suffused with golden light had already stepped on the monsters' heads. Star. Chapter 1854. Roar, roar, the monster that was stepped on let out a sharp scream. In the next instant, the monster's head was directly penetrated by the golden light. Blood immediately splashed out. The huge monster's body trembled a few times on the void plane, then it could no longer move. Seeing this, the other huge monster turned around and wanted to escape, but before it could move, its huge body was sucked in by a suction force. Roar, the mournful scream was extremely sharp. The monsters in the surroundings were all shocked to the core. The huge monster was instantly cut into pieces by the golden light that burst out from Qiao Jin's body. All around, there was silence. The monsters quietly stared at the two huge monsters whose flesh and blood were flying everywhere, waiting for the two monsters to recombine. These two monsters had already existed since they had consciousness. In this battle plane, the two monsters had been fighting for at least 500 years. This time, they met a strong enemy of the human race. The kings of these two battle planes would definitely recombine into one monster to fight against the enemy together. However, time passed minute by minute. The two monsters that were torn into pieces were like dead meat, and there was no way to recombine. The monsters were horrified, and they all took a few steps back. Qiao Jin held Yan Xiaoyi and slowly turned around. The corners of his mouth raised slightly, and his golden eyes were shining. Who else wants to go? Silence. A strange silence. The monster's perception was extremely sharp. They deeply felt a dangerous aura from Qiao Jin's body. They knew that if they got close to Qiao Jin, the layer of golden light around Qiao Jin's body would shake them away. If they angered this golden-eyed human man, and it was very likely that they would become dead meat. Who dared to go up? Qiao Jin's golden eyes swept the surrounding monsters, and he hugged the woman in his arms tightly. Step by step, he walked in the direction where thousands of monsters surrounded him. Qiao Jin just walked in that direction. The surrounding monsters automatically separated and opened up a path. Qiao Jin was like the king of this void space, holding his beloved queen, surrounded by thousands of beasts, and slowly walked forward. This scene made Yan Xiaoyi extremely shocked. One must know that just a moment ago, they were still surrounded by these monsters, and she almost self-destructed to save Qiao Jin's life. And the next moment, all the monsters treated Qiao Jin like a king. The thousands of monsters around them were still looking at each other. Slut Jin, you, who exactly are you? Yan Xiaoyi pursed her lips and fixed her beautiful eyes on Qiao Jin's face. His golden eyes were exceptionally dazzling. She loved those eyes of his. It was as if he could steal her soul, hook her heart, and capture her soul. Qiao Jin's ordinary face stiffened slightly. Then, he lowered his head and looked at her with his golden eyes. Don't you think I'm scary like this? Scary? Yan Xiaoyi lifted her hand and touched the corner of his eye. Why do you say that about yourself? If you think the golden pupils are scary, aren't you implying that the class leader's blue pupils are also scary? Her fingertips were extremely gentle. However, her tone was already tainted with a bit of mischief. After we leave this damn place, I'll definitely tell the class monitor about how scary your eyes are. The smile on the woman's face caused Qiao Jin's lips to curl up unconsciously. It was great that she was fine. As long as she was fine, she was still alive. He did not hesitate to expose his identity and use his own power. That was the right choice. As long as Xiaoyi was still alive and well. Even if he was captured and turned into a puppet. Chapter 1855. Suddenly, Qiao Jin felt the weight in his arms lighten. A pair of soft little hands circled around his neck. He came back to his senses and saw Yan Xiaoyi's exquisite face right in front of him. Her slightly pale lips lightly imprinted on his eyes. Bitch Jin, I like your eyes very much, very much, very much. The woman's soft voice was pleasant to listen to. Like a zither string lightly plucking a certain softness in Qiao Jin's heart. His heart trembled slightly and his hands instinctively tightened around her slender waist. The man's response caused Yan Xiaoyi's heart to suddenly jump with joy. But, before her joy could reach her head, the hands on her waist suddenly loosened. Qiao Jin frantically pushed her away, pulling apart the distance between the two of them. Can you walk now? His voice was mixed with a bit of dryness. Yan Xiaoyi's brows tightened. What did his words mean? Wasn't everything fine just now? Why did all of a sudden, why did his attitude towards her become cold and hard again? My power can't maintain this change for a long time. Qiao Jin saw the pain in her eyes and thought of her resolute confessions again and again. His heart throbbed with increasing pain. He didn't want to explain and wanted Yan Xiaoyi to misunderstand him like this. But he still couldn't help it. We have to find a way to leave this plane as soon as possible. Otherwise, the two of us will be in danger again. The woman he loved also loved him. And it was an unforgettable love. But he couldn't express his joy nor the slightest bit of his feelings. The moment the golden eyes appeared, everyone was stunned. Between him and Yan Xiaoyi, there was already truly no longer any possibility. He couldn't give Yan Xiaoyi any more hope. Hearing this, Yan Xiaoyi restrained the pain in her eyes and hurriedly withdrew from his embrace. I'm fine. How much longer can your power hold out for? Yan Xiaoyi was extremely astonished by this mysterious golden power of Qiao Jin's. Just now, when Qiao Jin had stopped her from detonating the profound jade heart, he took the opportunity to send his own golden light into her body. At that time, the external and internal injuries on Yan Xiaoyi's body had more or less healed under the golden light's treatment. Right now, she could stabilize her figure. Soon. Qiao Jin looked at the golden light in his palm and took a deep breath. But, very soon, someone will come. He paused and smiled bitterly. They saved us. Qing Luo. Lord Dizun will come. Yan Xiaoyi's delicate brows furrowed slightly as she didn't understand the reason for Qiao Jin's bitter laugh. Wasn't it something to be happy about when someone rescued them from this plane? Qiao Jin shook his head with a smile and did not reply. Indeed, in less than an hour, the golden light on Qiao Jin's body had already gradually dispersed. The domineering aura around him also gradually subsided. The surrounding monsters that were initially obedient also keenly noticed the change in Qiao Jin and turned their gazes towards him. Slut Jin. Do you think they will? Yan Xiaoyi looked at the thousands of eyes of the monsters and felt a little scared. I will, Qiao Jin replied calmly. These monsters were not like the two huge monsters from before, which had their own consciousness. They relied solely on their senses and intuition to determine danger. When the feeling of fear on Qiao Jin's body disappeared, they would treat Qiao Jin and Yan Xiaoyi as enemies once again. Just as Qiao Jin finished speaking. Chapter 1856. Were they going to continue fighting? Yan Xiaoyi gripped the black sickle blade tightly as she looked at those monsters vigilantly. When will Qing Luo and the Overlord rush over? Qiao Jin looked at his palm. The eyes that had returned to black were full of deep meaning that Yan Xiaoyi couldn't understand. It should be, almost. You. Are you hiding something from me? Yan Xiaoyi kept feeling that ever since Qiao Jin's golden light had dispersed, his mood was extremely downcast. This depression was not caused by the loss of great power. It was as if he was about to lose something precious. His entire person was shrouded in a gloomy feeling. Your golden eye, your power, Yan Xiaoyi pursed her red lips tightly. Could it be? The person who came to save us isn't Qing Luo, not the Overlord. Don't even think about it. Qiao Jin had already pulled her behind him and raised his hand to attack the monster in front of him. At this moment, it was indeed not the time for them to start the you ask and I answer mode. These monsters would not give them the chance or the time to do so. Yan Xiaoyi, who was gradually recovering her strength, raised the black scythe blade and stood back to back with Qiao Jin as they began to kill the monsters in front of them. At this moment, a silver light suddenly descended from the sky. Then, the silver light wrapped around the two of them. At an extremely fast speed, a rectangular space was formed. It was about big enough for one person to stand on. Bang, 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 the monsters rammed into them. However, before it could get close, it was sent flying by the silver light. Yan Xiaoyi was slightly taken aback as she raised her hand to touch the hard protective cover. What? What is this? What happened? It felt extremely smooth, like the skin of a woman. Yan Xiaoyi was stunned. How could such a smooth thing block the attacks of those monsters? She turned her head and looked at Xiao Jin. Slut Jin, this is the thing that you said, will come and save us. Xiao Jin looked at the shining silver object and shook his head decisively. No. Could it be Qing Luo? Yan Xiaoyi couldn't bear to let go. Xiao Jin glanced at his surroundings. The monsters who wanted to charge forward were sent flying again. He sensed his surroundings. He discovered that this barrier was completely isolated from the outside world. Here, he could not sense the aura of those monsters. And the monsters couldn't get close. This realization made Xiao Jin heave a heavy sigh of relief. He slowly leaned against the protective barrier and sat down. He didn't dare to be too relaxed. But at least they were safe for now. All the exhaustion in his body was completely released in this instant. From the moment they entered this battle plane, they had been extremely tense. Constant battles, emotional tension, and emotional collapse. Both of them were physically and mentally exhausted. Seeing Xiao Jin sit down by the side, Yan Xiaoyi also leaned close to him and slowly sat down. Xiao Jin's closed eyes trembled slightly, but he did not speak. Yan Xiaoyi smiled and leaned her head on his shoulder. She hugged one of his arms. It was a rare moment of peace, and neither of them spoke a single word. The ancestral tomb. Yiqing Luo alighted from Yuming's car. She narrowed her eyes and looked at the tomb that was about halfway up the mountain. So this is how the ancestors' tomb looks like from below. Last time, he heard that the group of old men from the Yi clan came to their ancestors' tomb. Yiqing Luo totally didn't put it to heart. From the start to the end, she had been sleeping in the plane. Until she was thrown off the plane by those old men from the Yi family, and forcefully stuffed into the ancestors' tomb. As for the location of the ancestors' tomb, as a descendant of the Yi family, she totally didn't know. Star. Chapter 1857. I also spent a long time to find the real location of the late emperor's tomb. Yuming pushed the door open and stood beside Yiqing Luo, raising his head to look at the tomb hanging in the middle of the mountain. Most people are unable to get close to this place, so no archaeologists have discovered the remains here. How did you discover it? Yiqing Luo raised her brows. She was very curious about what Yuming wanted from the ancestral tomb. He actually made it so mysterious, not letting her know about it. Apparently, it was an extremely important thing. Yuming didn't want to say, so she couldn't force him to ask. After all, she had forcefully contracted the Ming mirror which he had been carrying for so many years. Yuming's scarlet eyes flickered slightly, because I'm not an ordinary person. Amen. This was a reasonable answer. Yiqing Luo shrugged her shoulders, knowing that he didn't want to talk more. She couldn't be bothered to. With a leap, her sleeves fluttered in the wind. She had already landed steadily in the middle of the mountain, at the entrance of the ancestral tomb. Dmo Xian followed closely. Yuming naturally wouldn't fall behind. Standing at the entrance of the tomb, the three of them and a misty array eye. Why was the array I brought to the ancestral tomb? Yiqing Luo's original words were like this: this plain is your turf, who knows which corner you are hiding in. If you don't let us find you, how are we going to find you? If we can't find you, how are we going to the battle plane? So, you'd better follow us obediently, let my darling keep an eye on you. After I come out from the west tomb, send us directly to the battle plane. Everything depends on you. Yuming stared at the tomb entrance. The expression on his face was a rare solemn. Yiqing Luo waved her hand, looking at Dmo Xian. Xian, I'll go in first. They didn't have much time. Xiao Jin and Yan Xiaoyi's battle plane could at most last for another 3 days. She had to hurry and rush to the battle plane. Dmo Xian's brows creased slightly, his peach blossom eyes were filled with worry. The ancestral tomb gave him an extremely uncomfortable feeling. "You're at ease." Yiqing Luo walked over, putting her arm around his firm waist. "This isn't my first time here, although it's been a long time, but the route is all in my mind." The old men of the Yi clan naturally had a map of the Yi clan's ancestral tomb. Back then, when he had let her come in to retrieve the Yi family's heirloom, the azure dew bracelet, the old man had shown her a map. She was no stranger to the tomb of her ancestors. Dmo Xian ruffled her hair. Although he was extremely unwilling to let her enter, but he understood that Yiqing Luo had to enter. Regardless of whether it was because of what he promised the netherworld, or perhaps a vast water divine artifact. She had to go on this trip to the tomb of her ancestors. "Be careful, I'll be right here waiting for you." Dmo Xian lowered his head and gently kissed her forehead. Only those of the Yi clan's bloodline could enter the ancestral tomb. Even Dmo Xian was unable to follow Yiqing Luo into the ancestral tomb. Yiqing Luo assured him in every possible way and left Dmo Xian's embrace reluctantly. She turned around and walked towards the tomb of her ancestors. But before he could lift his leg, his wrist suddenly tightened. "That's right, Lil Luo, take this with you." Dmo Xian's clear voice was extremely melodious. Yiqing Luo's finger seemed to be circled by something. She looked down and saw that it was the azure water ring she had obtained from the tomb of the Ling King. "You're tuning in to the Journey of the Soul YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.